Hello everyone. We're going to continue with our app. So for this part, so we've got the login, and then the next part that we have to do is we have to implement the session tokens. So for the session tokens, we're going to be using a cache. So I'm going to make a new folder here, and I'm going to call this cache. And in here, I'm going to make one called tokens, package cache. So for the cache, I'm going to design it like this. I'm going to say tokens, and that's an error value, equals, and then I have a package called hot cache down here. So you just run that. So, and it's a time to live cache. So we'll say hot cache dot new. And for this, we will map string to string. Hot cache is just kind of like a wraparound sync map, just that way you can type it, so you don't have to do like type assertions everywhere. It's much cleaner. So for hot cache, we're going to have a timeout of, let's see, 3600, so that's hour times 24 times 30. So we'll have 60. We'll have a 60-day window, which should be more than enough for people to keep the token valid. And then for an on delete, so func map. So for this, so once the items have been cleared from the cache, if you want to do something extra with hot cache, the hot cache items, maybe like update a database, you can do that here. But for now, nothing to do, because all we care about for this is just deleting the items from the cache. All right, so now that we've got this, we can go over to public and then down here. So I need to make a new token. So I'll say token error is security dot new token. How about we'll do 32. If error is not equal nil, error failed to create token with error p.status. I'll call this an internal server error because they're not supposed to have that. And then I like to put prefixes on my tokens so that way if I need to debug, I know what they're for. So t equals token plus, oops. And then now we have to give this token to the user. So the way that I've seen it done is I'll say type new token, struct token, which is a string, and the JSON is token. And error equals JSON.new encoder, w dot encode, and then I'll take a new token, and the token is t. Encode token. Okay, so user logs in, they get a new session token, and then like on the app side, they could store that. And then here we encode it, send it out, all good. Okay, so now the next part is we want to make middleware to establish who that person is and make sure it's even there. So middleware, package server, so we'll say func token check, and response writer. Actually, no, this takes next, which is http.handler, and it returns a handler. Why is this angry? Undefined. Handler. Okay, so we'll say return http.handler func. And then I have to always check my notes because I always get this stuff mixed up. Yep, so it's a handler func and it's just an anonymous function. Okay, so we have our token check. So I'll say token equals r.header.get, and then we'll call this x token. If token is empty, error w. We'll say just forbidden, because here we don't have a token. And we'll say no token provided, so it's a bad request. HTTP status bad request, and we'll just return here. So now if the token is there, we want to say obj ID colon equals, and then we'll say tokens, or cache.tokens, cache.tokens.load token. Now I remember. So I can't do just that. So say on success. So on success, so that's token and the object ID. And then I'll say r.header.add. So this is, I'll say x user ID, or maybe obj ID, and then we'll say obj ID, and then on failure, so this is just on failure, and I'll say token fail, lookup failed, false, and then I'll say lookup failed equals true. So if lookup failed, http.error invalid token. Or maybe we'll just say forbidden. Forbidden. And then next serve HTTP w and r. So we'll check. So I'm doing the middleware, and then the middleware gets the token. If the token's not provided, just say that, and then look it up in the cache. If it's in there, add it or do a modification, and then say x obj ID. And I'll do const user ID equals user ID header equals x obj ID. So that way, when I need to get that header in other routes, I can just use this constant. So now I've got x user ID header, next.serve, add the user ID, and then also I want to check, yep, got obj ID. And then the last part is in main.go. So we've got our new server, and then now I also have to start the cache. So I'll say cache.tokens.start. So that'll spin up the cache, and then you can do that for any number of caches you'd like. And then the last part, before I forget, cache.tokens.store, and here I'm going to store t user.obj ID. And then obviously with this way you can have multiple tokens, and then also if you have anything on the app side, so like the iPhone app, you can store it locally in what is that, Key Store? No, that's Android. Can't remember what it is for iPhone, but you can store it locally. That way you have persistent login. Okay, so that covers what I want for now, and then the next time we'll maybe implement one of the routes to create a job. Thank you.